blazing sun, sweating crowds, and wind turbines flowing at dusk, blackout headlines, grid near collapse, ERCOT issues emergency alert, and Texas power debate ignites. A brutal heatwave is pushing Texas to its limits, not just in temperature but in electricity. As millions crank up their air conditioners, as the state's power grid is once again under intense strain, raising urgent questions about how energy is produced, stored, and delivered in the Lone Star state. Thermometer hitting 110 degrees Fahrenheit, empty reservoirs, people using fans. With the temperatures topping 110 degrees Fahrenheit across much of Texas, the Electric Reliability Council of Texas, or ERCOT, has issued multiple emergency alert warning of possible blackout during peak demand hours. This summer marks the third year in a row that extreme weather has tested the grid, promoting growing concern among residents and business and policymakers. ERCOT demand versus supply curve red alert zone. ERCOT oversees 90% of the state's power, and unlike the regions, Texas operates mostly on its own grid, limiting the ability to import electricity during a crisis. This week, ERCOT set new all-time records for energy demands, topping 85,000 megawatts, driven legally by residential cooling and industrial activity. Fossil fuel power plants versus wind and solar farms. The crisis has reignited an old and deeply political debate: should Texas double down on renewables like wind and solar, or lean harder into fossil fuels like natural gas and coal to ensure grid reliability. Governor Great Abbott speaking at press conference. Governor Great Abbott said that we need dispatchable power, that means natural gas and thermal generation, not just intermittent renewable that fail when the wind does not blow or the sun goes down. Republican leaders argue that Texas has over-invested in renewable, leaving the grid vulnerable to fluctuations in weather, environmental activities, and energy experts countering Abbott's remarks. But clean energy advocates push back, saying the problem is not renewables, it's infrastructure. They point to outdated transmission lines, lack of storage, and poor coordination as the real culprits. Energy analysts say that Texas has some of the best wind and solar resources in the country. What we need is modernization and not a rollback. Battery storage facilities, grid balancing technology, heat-mapped load charts. There's growing interest in battery storage technology, which could help balance the grid by storing excess renewable energy during the day and releasing it when demands spike, especially after sunset. But deployment is still in early stages, and critics say the state has not done enough to fund or incentivize large-scale energy storage projects. Power generation by source in Texas 2024 to 2025. Today, renewable account for roughly 30% of Texas energy mix, with wind leading, followed by solar. Natural gas still provides over 40%, while coal continues to decline. Despite recent grid issues, investor interest in clean energy projects in Texas remains strong, especially in West Texas and the Gulf region. ERCOT control room homes during blackout, political aides debating energy policy. The stakes are high for public safety, economic stability, and climate resilience. With more heat waves expected and grid demands only growing, Texas faces a pivotal question: what kind of energy future will power the state? Record demand 85,000 megawatt, renewable 30%, ERCOT on alert. Subscribe for energy and climate updates across the US.